Today I'm going to be showing you how to do spark plug replacement on a 2001 Eurovan 2.8 V6. Basically you would have a cover right here. It'll be inserted one right here, right there, and then there's one more right there, so it'll be pushed in. And then you'll have 3 bolts, so one right there, 2, 3, and I believe those are T27s if I'm correct. And then as soon as you take off those T27s, then this slides right out. You just pull it towards you. Don't lift it up, don't push it down, you just pull it right towards you. Alright, now after that, basically we have these. You just pull these guys right out. These guys are on there kind of tight. Now the ones for right here, they're a little bit more pain in the butt to get a hold of. We got to take off this guy. We're going to need to take off a couple 10 millimeters, take off the expansion tank itself, so that's a Phillips, and then I think that's about it. So 1, 2, 10 millimeters, and then on the other side 1, 2. It's gonna make 4 10 millimeters in total, and then Phillips. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and I think that's it at the moment right now that I can find. So we're gonna go ahead and pop those right off. So all you have to do is slide this right out, and then we could just pull them all out. These are so long. Some really long ignition coils. God, those are long. It's about a foot long. So you can see how caked up in oil they are. I'm actually going to be doing the valve cover on this too as well. So we're going to go ahead and pop those off. Now for the spark plugs, I'm doing 2 videos in one. Now I'm going to take off some other things. Don't worry about that. All you need to do is just take off the ignition coils and just move this back. That's as far as you're going to go. For the expansion tank, you just lift right up and then push to the side, and then we'll be fine. So again, don't worry about the intake. Maybe this one, maybe. Nah. This one we can just push to the side just like that. We'll probably take off this hose and that's about it. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and take off the intake. We're going to use a hose clamp. And then we're going to pull off this PCV hose right here. So we're just going to squeeze. So we're going to squeeze right here and right here. And then we're just going to twist our way up on out. Well, if your thing is just sensitive as this, well, this one broke, so we got to replace that. No biggie. And then we'll go ahead and squeeze this tab. You're going to push down right there, and it'll open up. And then as for this guy should just pull on right back from right there. Alright, so we're going to have to take off the throttle body in the intake. So either we can, probably going to take it off from right here, and then we'll probably set the throttle body to the side. I know I'm probably going to break this. I know for sure I might break this guy. This guy right here, sorry about that. I know I'm going to break it. I'm going to break it from right, I'm going to take out the hose clamp. If I break it, oh well, I'll just get a new whole assembly, just because of the age and stuff. And I already see like a little small seepage right there. So we're going to go, oh well, the heater hose is disconnected too. So we might have an issue with the heater hose. So your connections might be a little tad bit different than mine, obviously because the heater hoses aren't connected. some Mickey Mouse going on right here. Needless to say, no biggie. We'll go ahead and worry about that. I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect it. I'm just gonna go ahead and disconnect the throttle body, and then I'm gonna disconnect this intake. There should be 4 bolts. We're gonna take these 2 hoses off, and there's one. So one right there. Oh, you can see that. So one bolt right there, and then there's another one right below it. So that one right there. And then right there you can see the other 2 right there. Those are going to be hex. Normally this should be like a quick disconnect, but that looks old as heck. So we just pulled that back and let that sit right there. Oh, well, it didn't break. Thank God. And then I forgot to mention for the throttle body, those are 5 millimeter hex. So just right here. And then another thing I forgot to mention, when you take off this hose, coolant's going to be coming off, so you need to drain that. I'm doing the water pump, so there was no coolant, so knocking out a few birds with one stone. And then the 4 hex that are right here, those are going to be 6 mils. So a 6 millimeter hex. All right, so we're going to go ahead and mark this hose and then this piece for our benefit, so we don't mix up those hoses together. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and take off the secondary air pump. Now you would have a couple 10 millimeters, one up here, one up there, and then the bushings, but these are broken, so this makes my life more easier. Thank God. So we'll just go ahead and squeeze this right out. Hopefully it doesn't break. Let's see. We're gonna go ahead and take off the plug. It's like the regular plugs. Just kind of pull back the tab. So see, just the regular tab. And we'll go ahead and squeeze this guy. Pull that back. So we can't take this off. We're gonna have to remove the dipstick. Anyways, we're gonna have to do it anyways. So we're gonna have to go back up on top. So right there, I don't know if you can see it. Right there, we're gonna have to take off that bolt right there. All right, so right there's the bolt. This is gonna be a little, if you have like an Allen, we're gonna be using the Hex 5. So here we have a stubby wrench or ratchet. And then we'll just swirl this right around. And then pull right up. All right, so we'll just leave that sitting right there. All right, so now this should just slide right up on out. Now there's the other 10 millimeter right up here. I know it's kind of a little benefit of the doubt from my end. So right there. I don't know if you noticed that this is kind of pressing against this hose. Now I would recommend you to pull it back. We're gonna bend this up a little bit. Not right now. We'll do it later. Because I noticed it's pressing against this hose, and obviously over time it's gonna blow out that hose. Now, what's next? Now we gotta take off the intake plenum bolts. Now that looks like fun. Gosh. And then we're going to go ahead, I forgot to mention, these are going to be all 10mm bolts. There's going to be 3 bolts in total. So we're 1, 2, and then there's a third one right here. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and take off all these bolts. There's going to be quite a few. So we're going to have to take off all of those. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to have to take off these because there's a few bolts right behind that. But yeah, we're going to have to take off all of those bolts, and then we should be able to slide the intake right out. We're going to have to take off a couple more things up on top. I'm just going to leave those for last. And all of those are going to be 6mm bolts or hex. So 6mm. So this guy right here, this little vacuum switching valve, you're going to pull this little tab right up, and then you're going to slide down. That's sitting right there on this guy. So we need to do that. Alright, so we got it all loose. Now we're going to go up on top. So we're going to go ahead and pull off. Let me see. Okay, that's going to come off with it. Oh, there's actually one more bolt down there. That's on the manifold. What else? What else? I think all these hoses we can actually take off altogether. Since I broke off this one right here. So if you see this one, if you haven't broke off the PCV hose like how I did, you would take off this guy and then you could pull off the intake. So right there, we're gonna go ahead and, I don't know if you can see it. There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and take off that one. And then that one's a 6mm. And then we have one more 6mm. This will be the final one. This will be the last bolt. I don't know if you can see it. So right there, that'll sit right under, right there. So I got a little, the tool that I'm using, you can get this at Harbor Freight as a ball peen Allen hex. That's a 6mm. This is made by Icon. And there you have it. And then the intake should go up and down. Should, right? Should. Pray. Oh, I feel like there's one more bolt. Oh. There is one more bolt. So there's one more bolt. And we are going to have to take that off. The way how we're going to take it off. Well, we're going to have to move this PCV hose. Well, that's broken anyways. So we'll move that right up. And then this will be just to get our tool right there. Let's see if I can get it. So let me show you where the tool is exactly at. So there's that bolt right there. So we got to take that off because that's actually bolted up to the manifold. I don't even think you need to take off the bottom one, the first one that I took off. No, you didn't need to take off the first one, I believe. So, well, that bolt fell down. We'll grab that in a little bit. All right, now that we got the intake nice and loose, right there, right here, we're gonna take off this guy. So we're gonna go ahead and press it in. That was on there pretty tight. All right, so we got to take off the fans. There's going to be about 6 10mm bolts holding it in to 1, 2, 3, and then on the opposite side too as well. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and take off the intake. Last time, I promise. I promise. This thing's a headache. Side. Now this thing's a joke. I'm not gonna lie. This is way more difficult than what it actually is. Way more difficult. Yeah, but like if you don't know what you're doing, don't attempt to do it. Oh, what a struggle. Book time actually quotes 2 hours for this. Yeah, that's a lie. I'm kind of upset about it. It is what it is. I already gave my customer the quote. No way there's 2 hours. Mitchell on Demand screwed up on that. But on the bright side, we are at the valve cover. And then we'll go from there. Yeah, look at the tubes. They're full of oil. We got to get an air compressor, blow all those out. Tube seals are leaking. They're completely shot, all cylinders. I'm surprised this thing's not misfiring. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and be finished for the day, and then I'll get back to this tomorrow. So now we're gonna go ahead and take off the valve cover. Well, you know what? We're gonna go ahead and spray air in these cylinder tubes just to get out all the oil. So they're actually pretty caked and they're really bad, so you can see all of them. And then that one's pretty, I think that, yeah, that one has a whole bunch of oil. So we're gonna go ahead and spray air in this. If you didn't have an air compressor, I guess one way you can do it is spray some brake cleaner in there and then go buy like the little dust cans, and that'll work too as well. So just to give you an idea on that. So we're gonna go ahead and blow out all the air right there, and then we're gonna spray brake cleaner and then blow the air in there again to get out all the debris out. All right, so we got most of all the oil out. All right, so now what we're gonna go ahead and do, we're gonna go ahead and take off all the bolts. So either you can take off this hose with the valve cover itself, or you can leave it on. I'm gonna go ahead and take it off. It's just gonna be quicker. So this this PCV or the secondary air pump hose, we're gonna take that off just because it's easier to pull out. and that will give us a time to inspect it to make sure it's not clogged too as well. If you didn't want to take that off, well, I mean, you're going to have to either way if you leave it on. There's going to be a 10 millimeter bracket holding it right there and right here on the side right under. But those are those 2 bolts for that. All right, so now we're going to get back to the other part for the valve cover. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then there's another one right under that we got to take off. That will be the 7th. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So yeah, about 12 bolts. If I didn't count that one, I don't remember. Either 12 or 13, so I don't remember if I counted that. But yeah. So we're going to go ahead and take those off right now. All right, now that we got that all pried off, I don't know if I mentioned, they're all 10 millimeter by the way, so just in case. So we're going to go ahead and pry right here on this little metal bracket or on this one right here. Now as prying it, be careful with these little grommets so you don't lose them. I don't know if we might need them. Just in case, get the top one and the bottom one. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and clean up our area with brake cleaner. So you're going to spray the brake cleaner on the rag. Alright, so then after you're done cleaning all the surfaces around, make sure you clean up where the grommets go. So right here and all these. We want that nice and clean. So I'm going to go ahead and clean up the cylinder or the valve cover, and then we'll go ahead and get right back to the video. Alright, so we got the valve cover all cleaned up. Now we're going to turn it upside down. For the old tube seals, these just literally pop right out. So here are our new ones. Now these guys have a little notch right there. As you can see, there's a little notch right there. Those notches are going to correspond with the notches right up there. So you would want to put this in one way. Then you want to make sure you kind of press these in and make sure that they're seated. So during installation that they don't fall out. Alright, so then use your palm to press it all the way in. It should be. Alright, so after we get this fully seated in, this is how it should look like when it's seated in. It should be very close to being, if I can get that to focus, so right there. Alright, now we're going to want to go ahead and put in our valve cover gasket. So this goes in pretty much one way. I don't think you can mess this up. So then after we get in our valve cover gasket, we're going to kind of want to tilt this to the side, and then we're going to want to put one screw in at a time, because I believe that these sit with the screws just like that. So the screws are going to be holding in the seal too as well. So we're gonna go ahead and repeat that. The 2 longer screws are gonna be towards this end right here, and then the rest of the shorter ones are gonna be, you know, history. So we're gonna go ahead and finish up this job, and then I'll get back to the video. I just want to give you another little demonstration on this, on how we can set these guys in. So we're gonna go ahead and push in this screw from up bottom, just like that. Make sure it's fully seated up, that you're holding it with your thumb. Come over with the valve cover gasket, and then work its way right over, just like that. And then the screw should not jump out. So basically this needs to be fully seated in, just like that, and we'll be fine and dandy. All right, so now there's 2 mating surfaces. So right here and right there, these are 2 separate things. So there's a little spot where there's 2 pieces of metal mating. So you got to put silicone in that area. So we're gonna put some silicone right here. Just put a nice little thin coat. And then we got to put one right here on the opposite side. And then I'm using like RTV, the right stuff, 1 minute gasket. You can get the little packets, but I use this for the oil pan too as well. And so let's thread all of these in by hand. So I have my impact gun on level 1 setting. I mean, it's barely any torque. So I think it's like 8 foot-pounds or something like that. But you need to go by your procedure on spec. So we're going to start off in the inside and then work our way around. Alright, so I know I said we had to take these off earlier just to get these off. Guess we didn't really have to. Well, especially for this one right here. So regret taking that one off, but right now let's just go ahead and put that one back on. And then, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and screw it on. That is a 6mm hex. Alright, so now we're ready to install our intake. One thing I didn't show, I cleaned up the area with brake cleaner. I need to go over this again because I was kind of cleaning a few ports. So if you want to clean up your ports right now would be a good time. You would spray some brake cleaner on a rag. So yeah, again, if you wanted to clean these ports, now would be a good time. I'm just going to go ahead and re-wipe this with brake cleaner and a rag. So you're going to spray the rag itself. So I'll just show you an example. So we'll spray the rag. And you grab the rag, whatever spot you sprayed, and you just wipe away just like that. So clean up the area really well. And again, if you wanted to do the little ports, so you can see right there, you just kind of make sure your hands all, or your rag's all soaked up. And yeah, so you can see right there, it's already taking it off. The longer you let it sit while it's wet, the easier it'll break down. Another thing too is pay attention to all this little oil. We're gonna go ahead and clean that up because you don't want oil going back into your exhaust chambers and stuff, prematurely wearing down your cap. So we don't want that. So we're gonna go ahead and clean up that area. I think it was from cylinder number 1 where it was coming from. So we're gonna go ahead and spray some brake cleaner in there, get that all out of there, and then spray it in there. So just like this, we got brake cleaner. So you would spray it just like that, and then it'll come out right through there. But yeah, so it'll be over there like all the way at the end on that side. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get that going, and then once we're done with that, you're gonna go ahead and clean up that area too as well, the mating surface. We're gonna go ahead and clean that. And then right here, we're gonna go ahead and prep this up too. I'm not gonna prep it right now. I'm just mentioning to you, if you wanted to get rid of the silicone that's right here, now would be a great time. These are the two meeting points, so we need to put silicone right there so no air escapes from right there, and we'll have a P171 or a 172 or a 174. But yeah, so we'll go ahead and get back to that. I'm just gonna drop it in, and then I'm gonna try to line the gasket, see how I could work this out. This is my first time again doing this, so yeah. So initial start, we're gonna just go ahead and drop down the valve cover. Not the valve cover, I'm sorry, the intake manifold. We're gonna drop it down, go up on under, and then try to align the gasket at the same time, and thread in the bolts in by hand. So we're gonna go ahead and do that first before we do anything else. Okay, so now we're semi-seated in, so we're gonna go up under, and again, we're gonna go ahead and start loosening up those bolts. Or I'm gonna start threading in the bolts and put in the gasket at the same time. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and start off. See if I can get you to see that. So right here, we're gonna go ahead and start threading it in from this side. So we're gonna go ahead and put in our little bracket right here. And then we're gonna go ahead and just bring in our gasket. I got the Felpro brand. Make sure that the blue lines are on the outside, like facing towards the manifold and not the cylinder head. So I think I would recommend you to have a second partner with you, unless you could do this by yourself. So you gotta kind of tilt the cylinder head a little bit, or I'm at the valve. It's easier said than done doing this by yourself. Okay, now stand up and go over there.
Get on top of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, see this thing I'm touching?
Yeah.
Okay, all the way in the back, lift it up just a tad bit.
From here?
Yeah. Okay. Alright, so the best way to get stuff in, to get these bolts threaded in, I would recommend having a second person. You can do it one person, but you are going to struggle. So I'm able to have someone hold up the top while I screw in the bottom and lift it and guide it. Alright, so we got a few bolts in. I mean, what a headache this was to get a second person to put in the intake, or the intake manifold. But it is doable. Alright, so we got all the bolts in right there. Alright. Again, this was a pain in the butt. Alright, so when doing this, make sure that you have this bracket over this. I mean, you probably could take off this bolt. I mean, that might make it a lot more easier. So if you take off this, I know earlier in the video I said you should have kept this on, but no, actually just keep it off, because actually the valve, the intake was actually hitting this sucker. And same thing for the other side. I loosened it up. There's about 2 of them on for the little exhaust. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and put on the secondary air pump. I don't know if we got to put on the air pump first or the oil dipstick. So we're going to kind of figure that out in a little trial and error. So I'm just going to try this guy first. So we'll see how that goes. Alright, so next, we'll go ahead and put our connector in right there. So we got this connector right here. So we'll put that back into the secondary air pump. Then we have our little vacuum switching hose. We're gonna leave that loose for right now until we get on the radiator fan. We will put on our secondary air pump hose. Just push that in until it clips. Now we're going to go ahead and put in the alternator. I think I should have done that one first. If not, we'll just take off this little piece. Sorry, so we're going to go ahead and install the alternator. I forgot to mention, before we put on the alternator, we need to bolt down this hose right here for the secondary air pump. We're gonna bring it up through here. Bolts, and then thread them in by hand. The initial start, and then we'll go ahead and impact them in. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and put on the power cable first. So, I don't know if you can see, but like right there, my finger's at. So this, we're going to go ahead and bolt that down or start a little thread. And the same thing for the power cable. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and connect this connector. Alright, pull back, make sure everything's good, and we are good. Alright, so we got the belt on, so this is how it should look. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and start doing these little details right here. We're going to go ahead and hook up this exhaust piece right here. We just got to lift this up, move it over. If you need to, loosen up this bolt. This is the 6 mil hex. And then we'll go ahead and thread it in right there so you can get this just to move loosely. Then right here we're gonna go ahead and bolt that too, and then there should be like one more piece right there. So we're gonna go ahead and thread in that one too. And we'll go ahead and bolt this guy. It'll bolt up just like that. I'll go ahead and show that once we are done. I'm not gonna record that process because it's just kind of common sense. It's really not that hard. But yeah, I'll go ahead and show it how it looks like right after it's done. All right. All right, so we got all that bolted up, so that's all good to go. Next thing, what we're gonna go ahead and do, this guy right here is gonna sit right there, and then we're gonna put this bolt right over. And then at the same time, we're gonna go ahead and bolt this guy right there, and then we're gonna go ahead and clip this guy right in there. Make sure you lubricate that, the inside with some dielectric grease. So you're just gonna kind of put some dielectric grease in your hand, and then you're just gonna wipe it inside the little inner edge, so we keep that lubricated, so that if we ever take this out again, that it'll be more easier to pull out, so we're not struggling. Then we're gonna go ahead and put on the wire harness. We'll set this guy right back on. We'll bolt this right back on too as well. So we'll do that, and yeah. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and put in our oil dipstick. Make sure you slide it right in here. You can see that. So we're gonna go ahead and slide it through this hole right here, so where we can get it kind of close, and then we're gonna go under and then guide it right in. All right, so now you can see our dipstick. Normally the O-ring should be on here, but I already lubricated that with the dielectric grease. So we'll just slide it right in, and then we'll go back up on top, bolt that guy right back in. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and put on our the intake tubing. So again, on our mating points, there's gonna be 2 plates that are meeting. So again, I mentioned that earlier in the video. So we're gonna go ahead and apply a little bit of silicone on those. Then we're gonna go ahead and put in our gasket. The silicone should hold it. And then we'll go ahead and start off our first bolt. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and put our little hoses. Make sure that these go right under. And then we're gonna go ahead and put on this little hose that's right here. All right, so that's in. Just want you to see. So we got this hose that goes right here. Then right back here, we're gonna go ahead and connect this hose. All right, and then next, we're gonna go ahead and put in our radiator fan. So we're gonna go ahead and connect that in. We're gonna go ahead and put in our radiator fans. So what I did on the radiator fans, I bolted it back to the whole main assembly. That's the T27 or 30 bolt. So the fans are bolted to the bracket itself, and then the bracket's the one that bolts to this. Hopefully I don't have any troubles putting it in, but I'm gonna see if I can do it this way. If not, then I'll revert back to putting it one by one. Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and clip these guys in. Then we're gonna go ahead and put our little vacuum switching valve back on our right here. So we're gonna put it right there as soon as we get these connectors on. I guess we can go ahead and put up this little top piece right here. We'll put in the grill. Make sure you insert the grill nice and gentle because we don't want to break this. It's a pretty little simple cakewalk, nothing too crazy. As soon as we're done doing that, we're gonna go ahead and put on the little throttle body. Make sure you get your new gasket. But yeah, other than that, yeah, just go ahead and record that process. All right, so just wanted to give a quick tip. I lubricated these guys right here with dielectric grease, so both tabs, so that these don't dry rot, and it makes it easier to pull in and out the top piece for that. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and put on the throttle body. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and remove all the spark plugs now. We're gonna be using a 5/8 spark plug socket. You can get this one at AutoZone. This one does have a magnet on it, so it makes it very easy to pull out the spark plug. So you're gonna need a good amount of about 12 inches of the extension. And then we wanna go ahead and inspect each spark plug. Now, when doing these spark plugs, you need to make sure they come in two sizes. There's a single tip and there's a dual tip. So that's one way to find out, but we're gonna be using the single tip on this one. What? Where? What? All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and thread in our spark plugs. Make sure you do this all by hand. And then you're gonna need the spark plug magnet. If you don't have this one, yeah, I don't remember in the last video because it's been a few days because I got really busy with work. So the spark plug socket is gonna be 52133. You can get this at AutoZone. It's a 5/8 socket. And then we're gonna go ahead and slide each one down. We'll thread them in by hand. All right, so I'm just gonna snug these in. I'm just gonna speed up the process with the impact wrench, but they're just gonna be snugged in. Torque spec is 18 foot-pounds. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and put on our ignition coils. So we're just gonna let these guys slide right in. All right, then now we're gonna put on the connectors. So make sure that they clip. Make sure that you actually hear it clip. Because if not, later on down the road, these are gonna pop right out. And then we're gonna push down. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and put in our little top radiator support. Now this is kind of like one of the pain in the butt parts. I had these lubed up, but normally you kind of put a little flathead or a screwdriver and stuff, and then you would kind of pull right here, and then you would get this clipped in. Now, I mean, if this guy is really, really old, then I mean, it's gonna rip. What you can do is let this soak up. If they're nice and soft, they might not rip, but grease these up really, really well with dielectric grease or white lithium grease. So as you're pulling, wiggle it back and forth. And just like that, we'll have both in there. But it does feel like you're gonna rip them, so, but I mean, if they rip, I mean, it is what it is. There's really nothing you can do about it. So then we're gonna go ahead and start our little bolts. So we're gonna put the little 4 bolts that are right up here. And then we're gonna do it on the other side too as well. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and put in our grill. So right here, they're gonna have these little clips. Let's see if you can see that. Right there, they're gonna have these little clips right here, and then those are gonna slide in right there. What else? What else? Then we'll have a couple screws that are right here. Those are gonna screw into here, and then right here too as well. So let's just get this up and installed. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and put it back on our reservoir. Make sure that the bottom piece right here is in its groove. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and connect the hose that comes from the throttle body. So we're gonna go ahead and connect that to the little tube. Be careful with the hose. We don't want that breaking. Just like what I meant. I barely. This is the last thing I wanted. Oh God. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to order this part. Anyways, let's say we put that back. I'm gonna pretty much wrap up the video. So you basically put on your intake, and then we'll put our cabin filter. Put on our intake. You would put on this hose. I have this hose right here. Part number right there. It's gonna be the top one. Yeah, the top one, the one with the 022 103474. A is an alpha. So yeah, I'm pretty much done with this video. If this video helped you out, give it a thumbs up, comment down below if you have any questions, and hit that subscribe button for more upcoming videos in the future. And thanks for watching. So in the next stop after, if this ever happens to you, whatever, you're gonna have to open up this screw right here, fill up the coolant, and then turn on the car with the heater on full blast. It's not gonna work out for me, obviously, because the heater hoses are not working. But yeah, you'd keep doing that until you stop seeing air pockets coming from that. And as soon as that, you just close up that little bleeder screw, and then you get like a little small little Phillips flathead screwdriver, and then you can do it. So but yeah, if this video helped you out, give it a thumbs up, comment down below if you have any questions, and hit that subscribe button for more upcoming videos in the future. And thanks for watching. All right, so I took a break from the car, and I was able to go ahead and repair the hose that was broken. So I know. All right, you don't have to tell me. I had to make it happen, so I went over to the Home Depot store and it did this. I really needed to get this up and running. So, yeah, okay. But you know what? It ain't stupid if it works. So it works. All right. Just wanted to show you on that. Spend an extra couple bucks because I didn't want to wait 4 days for the stuff to come in. All right. So next thing, what we're gonna go ahead and do, we're actually gonna go ahead and take off our piece, most expensive piece, ridiculous world. I'm gonna pinch this right up, spin it right out. So you'd pinch it like this, squeeze that right there, and it'll come right out. Now for your next one, I'd recommend you to put some dielectric grease on the pipe itself. So we'll just, now what this will do, this will make it easier for it to come off next time if you ever wanted to. So I'll just spin it right around until you hear it clip. Once we got that clipped, then this hose, let's take out the old hose, is gonna go right near the vacuum switching valve right there. So, or yeah, on the bottom of the vacuum switching valve, there's a little nipple. So you see that little nipple right there? That's where we're gonna put it in. So we'll put that right in there. All right, cool beans. Might as well put in our connector right now. So we'll put in that connector. Let that clip right in. Then we'll have our intake connector. We'll set that aside. I'll set it right up on top of here. So we're gonna go ahead and put on our cabin filter box. So make sure that the vents are facing up. We'll go ahead and clip in the first one. All right, so for right here, we're gonna go ahead and lubricate this guy too. Again, we don't want this hose breaking again because it is a discontinued hose, and yeah. All right, so now make sure that this little sensor right here goes like that. We'll go ahead and put this guy in first. Then we're gonna go ahead and connect this little hose right here. It's that one that's just hanging around. We'll connect that guy. Okay, so there we have it. And then we'll connect it right here. So we'll make sure that that's in. We're gonna go ahead and put in our dipstick. Make sure you connect this guy. Make sure it clips. So we got that. Then our little connector right here. We're gonna go ahead and put it right in. All right, perfect. Then you're gonna go ahead and connect your negative battery terminal, 10 millimeter obviously. And after you're done with that, go ahead and start the vehicle and have everything all running, check everything. But if this video helped you out, give it a thumbs up, comment down below if you have any questions, and hit that subscribe button for more upcoming videos in the future, and thanks for watching.